Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give it to me now. 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 Yeah, yeah. Give it to me now. Give it to me now. I wanna lick you from your head to your toes, and I wanna down to the flow, and I wanna you look so good, I don't wanna leave, but I gotta let know what was your fantasy. Let you from your Yo, what's good? We back at it. It's your boy said that the scales will prevail. We had to do and follow through with the Aquarius Ascendant, you know what I mean? The aliens of the zodiac, you know what I mean? No disrespect. Excuse me. That's that Aquarius energy fucking with me, excuse me. So, yeah, we had to do the Aquarius Ascendant, you know what I mean? The genius Aquariuses, you know what I mean? We had to talk about y'all ascendant signs, who y'all are, how y'all act, you know what I mean? And balancing out your polarities in each house. We're using whole sign houses, even if you use another system. I want to use whole sign houses so that way I can reach more people on a broader level, basically. Each sign will basically be assigned to a house. We got Aquarius in the first house, which is the ascendant, followed by Pisces, Aries on the third, Taurus on the fourth, Gemini on the fifth, Cancer on the sixth, Leo on the 7th, Virgo on the 8th, Libra on the 9th, Scorpio on the 10th, Sagittarius on the 11th, Capricorn on the 12th, right? So I want to talk about your energies, right? But before we do that, again, I need y'all to subscribe below, you know what I mean, or wherever the subscribe button is. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure you comment below your thoughts, whether it be negative or positive. We accepting it all over here, you know what I mean? And stay tuned, you know what I mean? We got more videos coming soon after this one, right? We almost done with the series, but yeah, this is the 11th sign, Aquarius. So, Aquarius right here on your first house, right? So Aquarius, first house is the physical appearance, is how you act. It's also going to be kind of like your outlook on life as well. When you have Aquarius here, you're a very progressive type of individual. You have a certain level of genius about you. But you know, Aquarius is an energy that's very much against the grain. It doesn't like to conform. It doesn't like to be restricted, basically. So for you guys, how you act is very rebellious in nature. Very much, you know, eccentric, different, unique. Y'all might wear like crazy outfits, you know what I mean? That goes against social norms, even though, you know, of course that's changing as we're in the age of Aquarius, which is you guys' sign, or ascendant sign at least, right? So yeah, you go against the grain, very progressive. You have a certain level of genius about you, a uniqueness, a quirkiness, kind of weird and different. That's how you come off, basically. You may feel a bit odd and unusual too, right? So this is why opposite of that in your relationships, right? When people get to know you, you have Leo here, right? And Leo represents kind of like being seen, being the center of. It represents attention, being noticed. So being that you feel a bit more unique and different, at least the mask you wear in terms of when people first meet you, this is why in your relationships, you know, you want it to revolve around you and you want to be noticed, basically, right? Because you feel a bit unique. So you want to be noticed in this area, right? So your one-on-one relationships, partnerships, things of this nature, if you're wanting to be seen too much and you're wanting attention in this area and you wanting it to revolve around you, because Leo represents the king, right? Everything revolves around the king and the sun, as Leo's ruled by the sun, then you need to get back to progression, self-progression actually, because Aquarius represents progression, basically. That's how we look at the energies. Make sure you're balancing out these two areas, right? Let's go to Pisces on the 2nd versus Virgo on the 8th. You got Pisces on the 2nd. This is coming to your house of your resources, your assets, finances, and your values, right? Off top, I would like to say you are the type that's very giving when it comes to your own possessions and your own money situation, your resources. You got to make sure you're not giving too much of your resources, right? So if you are overly giving your money basically to others, then you need to work on and self-improve when it comes to, I would like to say, how you share your resources basically. This 8th house represents shared resources. You need to self-improve and work on this area because you guys value giving, right? 2nd house is values, and also you value giving your resources. That's how we balance out the energy. Now, if we go back to this 8th house, if you're the type that's kind of like working on this this house also deals with intimacy, right? So it's saying that you guys like to work, improve, and self-improve in your intimate life, basically. But you could be critical of those that you're kind of intimate with, or attract that type of energy from others, right? So if you're overly critical, right, wanting to perfect, because Virgo represents perfection, this area, which is intimacy, even kind of like sharing your resources, then sacrifice a little bit. Let's see, what else do I want to say? You may also value spirituality when you got Pisces on the 2nd, alright? Let's see, you got Aries on the 3rd house versus Libra on the 9th house. Now, whenever you have Aries coming into the 3rd house, you guys have a sharp tongue, right? This is kind of similar to having Mercury, your Mercury sign in Aries, right? So if you could be very brutally honest, very truthful. When we think of Aries, Aries is the baby of the zodiac because it's the first sign, and when we think about kids and babies, you know, well, kids, they don't necessarily think when they say stuff, right? So it's coming to the house of communication, so you could be brutally honest to the point where you just say stuff how you feel and it could rub people the wrong way, right? So, you know, being that you could be very direct in how you communicate, honest, brutal, you know, your words can hurt people. Make sure that you're kind of being more like diplomatic in the things that you believe in, basically your beliefs, which is the 9th house, right? You have an independent mindset, basically action oriented in terms of your thinking, but you can be very independent in your thinking. So you got to be more harmonious again with the things that you believe in, and fair, basically, which is all Libra energy. Now, if you're overly being fair in your beliefs and wanting to please others, which is kind of like Libra energy, and be diplomatic in your, you know, you believe in your relationships, get back to being a bit, you know, thinking about yourself, basically, which is all Aries on the 3rd. Let's go to Taurus on the 4th versus Scorpio on the 10th. All right, I'll start with your 10th house. Where you got Scorpio at. Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. Mars is a malefic planet. It's also known as the god of war. Pluto represents the god of the underworld. Normally when you have Scorpio in the 10th house, you attract fuckery from your authority figures, which could be like bosses or supervisors, so you move a bit more privately in this area. You may feel like you have to be more secretive and kind of like protect yourself in this area. But Scorpio is a very resilient sign, so if you feel like you're having power struggles amongst authority figures, you know, you'll be resilient, you know what I mean, and rise to the occasion. But you may have to move strategically, as Scorpio is kind of like a strategic type of energy, very calculated, plotting basically, and investigative. Now, if you're attracting that in with your if you're attracting this type of energy with your bosses and authority figures, supervisors, and as you kind of like rise in your career, which is all the 10th house, and your 4th house, which is your private life, your home, you know what I mean? It's just saying that you need to be stable and secure in this area, right? Because you're going through this energy in the outer world, right? So you need to basically be stable, secure, and solid and private in your home life, basically, right? Anything else I want to say with Scorpio on the 10th house? You got to kind of evolve in this area too, because Scorpio represents transformation and evolution, basically. And that will look differently for different people. Let's go to Gemini on the 5th versus Sagittarius on the 11th. Whenever you have Gemini on the 5th house, this is kind of like the house of self-expression, kind kind of like your sun sign, as this house kind of corresponds with the sun and basically Leo. So I compare this 5th house with your sun sign basically when I'm trying to see kind of how you express your identity, personality. Gemini is a very youthful energy. It means that you will come off very youthful, very spontaneous, very witty, very knowledgeable. You can be very much on the go, changing your appearance. Maybe even talkative at times too, which is all Gemini energy. Very much just wanting to, you know, it's like a jack of all trades, but very witty and very much mobile on the go, like I said. In your 11th house, you may have, Sagittarius represents kind of like an abundance and growth. So you may have a lot of friends as well too. You may have a lot of friends basically. And it could be some goals and aspirations around traveling, around learning, higher education. Also, you could attract people who are friends who are kind of like wise, who have a lot of wisdom, who could teach you stuff as well too, because you're coming off as the Gemini, and Gemini represents a very curious type of energy, right? So this is about balancing out these two areas, you being very curious and an intellect and learning with your friends as well too. Again, I told you want to grow and expand in your goals and aspirations, your hopes and wishes, which is the 11th house. Cancer on the 6th house versus Capricorn on the 12th house. So, it's very interesting because in your 6th house represents your work, your daily routines, co-workers, and employees as well too. So you come off as the mother in this area. You want it to more so feel like family in this area when you have Cancer on this area basically. Now, Cancer can also rule over real estate, catering, making food. When I say catering, cooking, it can rule over interior designing as an example, so that may be some things that you work, or it can show working from home as an example. It doesn't have to be that way, but these are just a few examples of how the Cancer energy can play out. So you want to nurture, again, you also want to nurture your work life, right? And kind of like cultivate and mother this area and in your daily routines. So Capricorn and 12th is just saying that behind the scenes and in private, and even in your sleep, because 12th house is sleep, you need to be kind of like behind the scenes. Though you do like to be responsible and reliable, but then you want to balance that out with, again, nurturing those that you work with and in your work. Your subconscious mind is very practical. 12th house is the subconscious mind, but you kind of suppress this side. It's interesting because Capricorn is more of a traditional type of energy. You suppress this and you come off as the unique one, basically the different one. Also, 12th house is the house of hidden enemies. So being that you come off as Aquarius is the humanitarian, which I didn't say that earlier. So hidden enemies could be people in the government, because if you're trying to progress, if you're the humanitarian, hidden enemies could be people who are, remember I told you Capricorn is a authoritative type of energy. It represents the government, structure, tradition, things of that nature, rules, regulation. So just be mindful for that. Or elders, it could be elderly people, right? Because you're very unique and different. You want to change the status quo. I think that's pretty much about it. You know, I'll leave it there. Hope it was enlightening for you. This is your boy Sid at The Scales Will Prevail. Make sure y'all stay tuned. We got more videos coming soon. Alright, y'all, peace.